cast your mind back, if you can, 25 years ago.
25 years ago,
through the sands of time.
1997. I was 21 years old. Yeah. Dave, it would be very... I do actually remember it quite well. It was good. It was really good back in the 90s.
But if I had to guess that I had the same experience with Jackie Brown that most people do, in that I was anticipating it, even though I was like 12 years old. I still remember the time and how it was built up. Oh, it's Tarantino's third movie's follow-up to Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. And everyone was underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed. And then years later, I watched it again and I suddenly started to appreciate it. I'm guessing that's the case for you and most people, yeah?
But it's the last Tarantino film, proper Tarantino film for me. After that, it kind of twists into this weird pastiche of Tarantino. But as someone that loved Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Jackie Brown, it's probably my favourite one, Jackie Brown.
There was also, of course, the scripts he sold. So there was also True Romance. There was also From Dusk Till Dawn. And there was also Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers, I think, was the most impactful. Because that kind of... I'm not really a fan, but it's kind of got... it had a mystique about it. And I think it was the Bonnie and Clyde thing. And, you know, it's that... the partners who were just hell-bent on crime and hedonism.
Within a year or two, there was even parodies of Tarantino on like sketch shows.
Okay.
Yes.
Norm. Yeah.
All right.
But if you watch the interviews, that's all he does in the interviews. Okay. I got into Tarantino because in 1990, when did I start? I did media studies in 1993.
Right.
With some pterodactyls. It was that long ago, it sounds now. But no, I did it. And everyone was talking about a film that was kind of being re-released called Reservoir Dogs. Mm. I actually went to Merry Hill Cinema with my mate Mitch to watch an after midnight showing of Reservoir Dogs. And I had no idea what to expect. I was fucking hooked in that film from beginning to end.
The lead up to this movie, which I think, weirdly enough, was released in December. It was a Christmas release, Jackie Brown. The oddest time probably to put it out. Do you remember the feeling at the time that this was a step down?
Yeah, like the reviews and stuff. Yeah, and it didn't have that impact that Pulp Fiction, and it didn't have the impact of Reservoir Dogs. But it's still a really clear Tarantino film. And it's for me, I think it's a beautiful film.
It is,
even if people were disappointed, it's their expectation.
No reason why he has to conform to the first two films, and he very obviously did it consciously. He was like, I can't just make Pulp Fiction Part 2.
No,
but there's one reason why Jackie Brown stands out in his catalogue, and that's two words, and that's Elmore Leonard. Certainly you can tell that his dialogue was a major influence on Tarantino. I mean, the 90s alone had Get Shorty, Out of Sight, and Jackie Brown, I think within a 3-year period. And they're all classics I go back to.
Well, Out of Sight still got a Jackie Brown link, hasn't it?
Well, Out of Sight has the character of Ray Nicolette, played by Michael Keaton.
The beautiful Michael Keaton.
Tarantino ensured that they could use that character without a penny spent. It's not even the same studio. It's interesting as well, of course, because obviously there were changes made to the book, because obviously it's a white woman in the actual novel. But like bringing in that blaxploitation flavour, even though it's not a blaxploitation film in the plotting. Not just the music, yeah, it does have a certain 70s swagger about it.
The font of Jackie Brown is the same as the font of Foxy Brown.
And obviously there's a cameo from Sid Haig as the judge at one point, and he was in all those 70s exploitation films. All the visual references in this one, I think, are quite good, because obviously it has to be film references throughout. Because one of his favourite directors is De Palma. And I think particularly that bit with Sid Haig, where you have the foreground and the background in total focus, the split
The
diopter.
split lens. Oh,
That's
yes.
pure De Palma, and he does De Palma again with the split screen at one point. What's happening simultaneously before both pieces come together? That's pure De Palma. That is. Rather than putting references into dialogue, it should all be part of the fabric, and that's why I think Jackie Brown has a very different flavour. I mean, besides the fact that it's the only adaptation he's actually done.
It's a really simple story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gunrunner kills Guy because he knows he's gonna tell the pigs everything, and then a couple of nights later, the exact thing happens to the other employee he's got, who just happens to be Jackie Brown. So it's really simple. Will he kill her? Because we know he's done it. We know how fast he did it. We know how efficient he is. We know how good he is at sweet talking someone into climbing into a boot of a car.
The story's great because it has so much in it that shouldn't really work as far as, his filmography is concerned, like a romance. Even though Max Cherry doesn't actually go for it at the end, interestingly.
But it was only last night watching it that he says, "Can I call you? Can you call back in half an hour?"
Yeah.
And it's after he said that she then drives off. It was like, okay, was he going to run out to her?
Yeah.
Did he want to just savor the moment and watch her drive off and think, I could have done this? Because earlier in the film he said, "Oh, I'm just going to sell up. I'm done with this." So he was ready to go.
Yeah.
Or was she too much of a dodgy skank? Because I watched it when she was like, "Shit, yeah, I'm driving his car. He's dead." And I was like, fucking hell, is he looking at her going,
yeah.
"Do you know what? She's quite fit, but fucking hell, she's got the morals of a sewer rat." So it's, you don't know. That could have been explained.
But I love, the heist itself. But I just the fact that the whole thing is set in a mall, and you get to see the different perspectives. And there's a brilliant chap on YouTube has actually synchronized all the elements together, so you can actually see it play out properly in real time. And it's just so good.
It's clever, but that's what he did in Pulp Fiction. That was the whole film, though, wasn't it? Really,
Yeah.
but the way that they did it, like just all the final act. And to grant it all to Pam Grier's character is genius, because she was expecting everyone's behaviour. She kind of got what was going to happen, and it's all her plan. And she gets away. She only goes to Madrid.
Pam Grier. I mean, she was nominated for a Golden Globe, but I think she should have been nominated for Best Actress.
Oscar.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd have to look up what the competitors were that year, but I doubt many of them were as memorable as Jackie Brown was.
As a strong character.
Yeah. I remember reading she was originally auditioned for Pulp Fiction for Rosanna Arquette's character, but he didn't cast her in that because he couldn't picture Eric Stoltz shouting at her and actually getting away with it.
The old Quentin, before Hollywood kind of infested him, the old Quentin went, "Okay, I'm gonna use you in a couple of years." Okay,
yeah,
and he did, and because I think that the old Quentin kind of loved all the 70s culture and the 80s culture, and it went into him, so he remembered all. That's why Pam Grier was in Jackie Brown, because I think Quentin had a bit of a thing for her. And if you watch the Charlie Rose interview.
I did actually watch it.
Did you watch it?
I did, yeah.
And there's a bit where she starts, I mean, she is fantastic, but she starts talking at the beginning and Quentin's kind of there going, and you can see he's kind of watching it, and then, But then again, if you could get that woman from your childhood that you absolutely adored, to kind of raise her back up, not resurrect her because she was still doing stuff, but just raise her back up. And he did it, but to think that he had Robert Forster in mind as well.
Max Cherry is one of my favourite characters that has ever been anything ever. And the fact that he got a Best Supporting Actor nomination. Medium Cool, I think, was the film that broke him out in the 70s. Very sort of countercultural, and like he did a lot of like exploitation films like Alligator and things like that.
Oh, no, yeah.
If you go back and look through the you know, the actors that he did favors for, can't get better than Forster.
He kind of does it now as a parody of it, you know, and you go, oh, who's going to be the celebrity in or the actor in this film that he kind of resurrects?
And he did it again with Django. I've seen Don Johnson in so much since Django came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's definitely resurrected him a little bit. Yeah, what a cast, though. What a cast.
Brilliant.
I think Del Robbie is top 5 like Sam Jackson performances, because you've got the over the top histrionic part of it, but you've also got that like you know, simmering rage in the background.
Sinister.
You know it's gonna explode at some
When
point.
he puts the gloves on, he puts the OJ gloves on.
Oh yeah.
Now I think at the time, 110 years ago, when we watched it, and there was just something about him putting those gloves on that was like, he's definitely going to murder her because they're OJ gloves.
One of my favourite and more underrated turns from Robert De Niro, who you almost forget is even in the movie sometimes.
I kind of got that he was, I don't know, at the beginning he's not doing he doesn't do anything, and then he kind of fills that void with smoking weed.
Yeah.
He's very subservient to Samuel L. Jackson, isn't he? He's very kind of deferential. And you can tell, well, he says we've been, you know, he met him 20 years ago or something. So it's a long time they've been, you know, in each of the circles. But, yeah, he's just come out of prison and he's jumped into, from a frying pan into the fire, really.
Apparently you're first offered to Stallone. He doesn't get turned down a lot, I'd have thought. If Tarantino calls people, I'd imagine 9 times out of 10 it's a yes.
Especially after Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Everyone would have been looking to work with him because of what they saw he did to John Travolta.
The way he simmers there in the background until the moment comes where he caps Bridget Fonda.
But that's it. She'd burrowed into his head.
Yeah.
And it's the last time that he turns around and he went, just keep your fucking mouth shut. Yeah. And he's kind of begging her, please just don't say another fucking word. And then it's literally well,
that's another thing we can say. The treatment of violence in this film, that particular murder is off camera. The murder of Chris Tucker is off camera. The only bloody moment in it is when De Niro gets killed. Which, compare that to literally every other film Tarantino has made.
Yeah, because Samuel L. Jackson kind of dies in the dark.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't considered that, actually.
Pulp Fiction made, I think, 240, something like that. From an 8 million budget, this didn't even crack 100. So do you think if this had been as big a hit as Pulp Fiction, do you think he would have carried on in a similar fashion?
No.
Huh?
I don't think he would have been bothered about that. He's like an auteur, or he was an auteur, or a serious one, not a novelty one that he is now. No, I don't think he'd be that bothered. Plus, Weinstein, him of the little warty cock, would think about the next film. Was it a financial loss to Miramax and Harvey and Quentin Tarantino that Jackie Brown didn't smash like Pulp Fiction? No. They probably anticipated that it wouldn't.
If you look at the original Cannes, I think it was a Cannes anyway, they did like a press conference, and one of the first questions was, is this film too slow? And literally that's like one of the first questions, and like Robert Forster, God bless him, gave him what for. It took years and a revisit for most people to come round to Jackie Brown.
And you watch Jackie Brown now, you will see that little LA magic thing when they're walking through the condo.
Yeah.
Just a little thing like that. You see Bruce Willis running through one in Pulp Fiction. So the shots are still there. He's still, Quentin Tarantino has still got his feet on LA ground,
yes,
if you will.
would you say the feeling now is that Jackie Brown is his best film, generally speaking?
I don't know. I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed that we didn't get another Jackie Brown
Yeah.
or another Pulp Fiction or another Reservoir Dogs. All we've got are these little projects of
Pastiches.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I think Quentin Tarantino needed someone to go, really? Do we have to do it again? You know, it's no. I know I'm attacking the Tarantino verse, but I kind of love that Elmore Leonard kind of tinged Tarantino verse.
Yes.
I don't want to know what the fuck's happening in Japan, but I kind of get why people love Kill Bill.
Yeah.
1 and 2. To me, they're as bad as each other. They're both as un-Tarantino as each other. And I get why some people love it, or the references, or the cool cars, the bike, the Bruce Lee outfit, or the kung fu. Okay, you want to make a kung fu film because of the films you watched in the 70s. We get it. You've mentioned, was it Sonny Chiba?
Yeah.
We get it. Okay, we get what you like. You don't have to do a parody, a scary movie of all those films and put it up for us and go, consume.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, and people do it, but there's like, I'm one of the old schools, I think, where I kind of saw the rise of him and I just expected a very different trajectory, because I wouldn't say that, God, let's have a think. Inglourious Bastards is even in the same genre as Pulp Fiction or Jackie
But why
Brown.
does it need to be?
It doesn't need to be, but it's like the tone that got Tarantino, not his success, but like the respect and the interest from like the public was those first 3 films that kind of captured something. But it's like he's gone, okay, right, I've done those now. I've lived in LA. I've moved out of those circles. Don't need that. What I'm going to do is some big, flashy, shiny films. Death Proof is I think an example of that, where it's like, I've got this idea, this idea, this idea. I want to use Zoe because I want to put her on the car, and I want to use the Dodge Challenger RT from Vanishing Point so much that I'm going to keep the same, license plate. Looking back, because I existed in a time before Pulp Fiction and after Pulp Fiction. So AD Pulp Fiction, you kind of knew Quentin was a genius, and you kind of going, right, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? I don't think we've ever been given a satisfactory gift, really, in asking that question. What's he going to do next? Oh, it's a film about a woman and we've got to split it in two, who dies, but she doesn't die. She's the bride. And then, no, I don't think we've ever got the full potential of Quentin a la LA, that LA Quentin that was kind of, I don't know. There's just something very analog about it. I don't know how to explain
There's something very comforting, I think, about an LA set crime story.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for them.
Yeah.
Really
Doesn't matter if it's Boys in the Hood or, it's that sort of sprawling metropolis of millions of different sorts of people, a melting pot of people, and how they kind of rub and wear with each other, and, just how they interact and the craziness that goes on around it. Calm down. Make a really simple film. If you do that, you get Jackie Brown. If you don't do that, you get Death Proof. Now, I don't know about you, David, but I want to see more Jackie Brown.